Welcome to Scramble Game Show. I hope today is not as hot as previous week. Now we are in the season for hot weather. So we like to introduce you to some indoor game. And the Scramble games can be played in many games, as you know. Last time we introduced the Scramble Poker, which can be played in many ways. The Scramble Texas Hold'em, the Scramble 5-card draw poker, or Scramble stud poker. Now, today we're going to introduce you a very interesting game. It's a very old game called Mahjong. Many people perhaps have heard of it, and some people even like it and play it in this country, although it is originated from China many centuries ago, probably as early as 1100. Now, the Mahjong game is quite simple, actually. I have some samples here to show you. It basically made of tiles and symbols. Okay, fundamentally, the tiles, the main tiles, are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 as numerals, but with 3 different designs. One is the stick. People actually use the bamboo stick to show this. 1, 2, 3. Except one, they use a little bird to represent. I guess some mahjong using single one stick, but in this case, they use a little bird to represent it. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is sticks. And the second row here is again 1, 2, 3 up to 9. 1, 2, 3 up to, is called 1. 1 is in numerals as like 10,000 in Chinese meaning. This is 1 means 10,000. The 3 is actually 1, 2, 3 sequence. 2 is 20,000, 30,000. Okay, 40,000 up to 90,000. Again, it's numerals. Now the third row here is called Bing. It basically is like a circle. Really is like the Chinese coins. So it represents money also in the sense 1, 2, 3, and the 1 饼, 2饼, 3饼, up to 9. Okay, so these are fundamental 3 suits. Then they have these other things that goes with the mahjong in terms of combination, and they have this 中发白, okay, which is 3 characters, all having a meaning in the sense of sometimes it's a blessing, sometimes is it's just a word to give you combinations that you can make a interesting hand. I'll explain that slowly, and because I have to do this in order to introduce the Scramble Mahjong game. Although Scramble Mahjong game is a lot easier to pick up than, believe me, than these tiles. But it's interesting to just know the background of Mahjong, then you will know. Now besides these 3 letters that are 中发白, okay, each has 4 of them. Okay, 中 4 of them, 4. I didn't have all of them here. Then they have these so-called wind or direction: east, south, west, north. Okay, and people sometimes call east wing, south wing, west wing, north wing wind, but you can almost just say direction as east, south, west, north. And again, 4 of them. Okay, so that constitutes the basic mahjong set. Okay, and each tile has 4 of them, just like this 4 of them. Okay, so this 21. Okay, this is 27. Sorry, 27 times 4. Okay, is 27 times 4, 80, and 7 is 428 is 108. This is 108, just the numerals. Plus you have these 4, 4, 4, 4, 16. Okay, so that's 124. Plus another 12 is 136. So there's 136 cards, tiles here. You probably remember, some of you as a Scramble card player knows, a deck of Scramble cards is designed with 136 cards. And that's the reason, actually, we like to, in the beginning of design of these cards, to play Scramble Mahjong. Okay, so that's the basic. Now, what are these things here? These are flowers, and these are plants. These are season, okay, spring, summer, autumn, winter, and they use flowers to represent. Okay, this is plum, orchid, and what is this flower? I forgot really that is. And then this is bamboo. Okay, so anyway, these again is introduced to make combinations. Now, the combination game in this mahjong is quite similar to the card game. Some call what do you call this? Gin and rummy and all these kind of games. They are combinations because basically in mahjong you will try to make combination like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 5, 6, 7, whatever. 3 in a combination, just like gin rummy have a game to do that, or you can have 3 of this same word of a kind, 3 east, or 3 of this kind. These are combination. Now, these combination in your hand, okay, forms basically a hand determines how powerful they are. Now, how powerful they are really depends on the probability, okay? For example, if you are able to collect 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all in your hand, in one hand, definitely is a lot more difficult than you have randomly 1, 2, 3 here, and 4, 5 there, and the 7, 3 there, okay? It's a lot easier when you do that kind of a combination, whereas you have all the cards in the same suit. It's sort of similar in the poker game when you have straight, okay? And royal straight is a lot difficult compared to just ordinary straight, because ordinary straight will mix suits. In this same token here, if you have the same suit and straight, it's a lot difficult to make, and that will represent a more powerful hand. So in the Oriental Mahjong game, the combination, okay, is a fundamental sort of based on fundamental theory of probability, okay, how easy or how difficult is to form one particular pattern. Now, in Mahjong game, there are 2 major ways to or rather 2 versions to play. One is called 13-card Mahjong. One is a 16-card Mahjong. Now, 13-card Mahjong means each player. By the way, Mahjong game is played always by 4 people sit on a table, 4 direct. Okay, and you determine the direction, north, east, west, south. That's the reason this direction comes in. 4 tables have 4 sides, and then you use a dice to throw a dice to determine who sits where in which direction, and then you sit down. You give each person a certain number of chips to begin with, and then you throw dice again to deal the cards or to take the tiles. The tiles usually are mixed on the table, put them in front of you. Since there's a total 136, actually plus these other, you will add up to 144, you will put in front of you, and by the dice determining where you start picking 4 at a time, 4 at a time, until you collect 13 cards. And that will be the 13 Mahjong you start with, okay? 13 cards is the beginning, and when you win, means when you form a pattern that actually is a 14-card pattern, has to be 2, 3, 3, 3, 3. 3, 3, 3 means this. This is called a 3, right? 1, 2, 3 is 3. 5, 6, 7 is a 3, or 3, 4, 5 is a 3. Any 3 pattern is called a 3, okay? This is another 3. So 3, 3, 3, 3 is you have 4, these 3 suits, plus a pair. That pair can be pair of this, or pair of even these numbers, 2, 1, and 2 2s, and so on. Okay, so 2, 3, 3, 3, 3 is a pattern. That's a fundamental pattern that determines that you can lay down and win. Then you count how powerful it is by counting the probability, or based on probability, how difficult that hand was formed. If you are able to make 3 suits in the same suit, 3 patterns in the same suit, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all in this Bing design, and that gives you more points or more power. Okay. Now, I'm not going to get into those kind of calculation because I tell you, Mahjong is pretty deep in this probability theory, and there are even PhD theses done to compute the Mahjong scoring, okay, and how to write a program to play Mahjong with computer. Because 140 cards and the combination you get and so on, and the probability something happens, after you dealt and start, taking cards, changing cards and so on, it's quite complicated. So we're not going to go into that, but suffice to say, the game is so interesting. It lasted centuries and centuries, okay, and now is played all over the world. Okay. In this country alone, there's many, many places. And in some countries, they have this so-called Mahjong house. People just go there and play hours and hours. And in Japan, in Hong Kong, in many places, okay? And people just enjoy the game. Now, in the Scramble Mahjong, we are taking all of these nice features, good features. We're not going to throw them away. But we're adding the learning element. We want people to be able to, enjoy the game as well as learning, particularly learning English words. Now, being an Oriental game, I think this eventually, I hope, someday is going to propagate the Scramble Mahjong into the Orient, other countries. Now, for people really interested in learning the English words, would enjoy playing a Scramble Mahjong and yet able to learn English words. Okay, now I am going to just leave these cards here, and I'm going to start illustrating how the Scramble Mahjong is going to be played. Now, okay, I was beginning to describe the 13-card Mahjong, and this other kind called 16-card Mahjong, or 16-tile Mahjong. It's very similar. Basically, it's 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. 5 threes instead of 4 threes. Okay? So the combination is more and is longer, sort of a length before you can declare winning. So the playing is similar. The scoring is slightly different because the number of cards now when you win is 17 cards rather than 14 cards or tiles. The combination and the probability are somewhat different, so there are different rules about counting the score. Okay, there are now books describing these rules. So again, we're not going to go into that, and the 17, 13, or 14 tile Mahjong are pretty much similar, except the number of patterns is longer. Okay. All right. Now we're going to describe how one may play the Scramble Mahjong using the Scramble cards. Okay. Now this is the Scramble cards, and as I said before, there's 136 cards. Now imagine if these are tiles, it would be 136 tiles. If you divide that by 4, okay, that means you would have 34 tiles on each, if it's 4 people play. 34 is 17 times 2. Usually people pile up, double deck. You count 17, 17, 17, that's 136. That's without using these flowers, okay? Now, Some people prefer to add the flowers, then we'll be making 144. That's 8 cards more, so everybody will have 18 double deck. That's 36, 36, 36 instead of 34. Okay? So now we sort of eliminated the flowers in this, or we don't use, although you could use, because we have wild cards and you can always add 8 more wild cards, or the instruction cards can be served as these flower tiles like the rigorous Mahjong. If you really sort of authentic Mahjong player, you insist on using those flowers, you could. But you don't have to. Let's now start with the 136 scramble cards. Okay. Now, Mahjong plays by 4 people sitting in 4 directions or on the 4 sides of the table, use the dice to determine. But in Scramble Mahjong, we made it again simple. You don't have to have 4 people. You can play with 3 people or even 2 people. And sometimes you can even make to play that's more than 4 people, like 5 people, 6 people. Although the probability of this distribution and playing and so on, it will be quite different when you have too many people. So it's probably best is still to play with 4 people, 5 people, no more. Okay, when you get too many, each person gets a number of cards, and what's left is very few. And then it doesn't give you that kind of a sort of a chance to group and make a pattern that is interesting. Okay? All right. Enough intrigue, probably. Still, you're dying to know what is Scramble Mahjong. Okay? All right. 136 cards, all shuffled. Let's pretend we have 4 people play. Okay? So if you pretend 4 people play, you really like having 4 decks in front of people, and for people to draw. But that's the Mahjong style. Instead of doing that, we'll just deal the cards out. Okay? Now, I will deal 4 cards at a time, like we do in the Mahjong. Usually, you take 4 cards at a time. All right. So 8. Oops, how come this is 8? 8, 12, 12, right? Did I correctly? Yes. And 1, 2, 3, 4. 13, 13, 13. Now, pretend we have 4 players. Actually, 3 players, 4 players, really in the Scramble Mahjong is similar, okay? And there's no rule. You have to have 4 people. In fact, in Oriental Mahjong, this 4 people rule is so rigid, and sometimes you're missing 1 player, people are really frustrated. And they have rules, and you cannot leave in the middle of the game. Even you have some emergency, somebody called you, or you got to go home or something, and they make a very strict penalty because you are ruining everybody else's sort of fun. And they have to have 4 people, and then you have to leave. Or when they form a game, they call people to come to somebody's house, and if you're late by 5 minutes, it's probably tolerable. If you're late by 10 minutes, they give you a penalty. You may have to pay money. And they treat this very seriously because 4 people have to be sitting at a table. Now, we make that rule simple. Now, you don't have to. Now, you have 13 cards, okay? Let me now orient the cards in such a way so that we could illustrate how this Mahjong game is played. Okay. Easy for the audience to see. I'm going to lay the 13 cards down, okay, maybe on 2 rows rather than 1. Okay. 13 cards. All right. Remember now, the Oriental Mahjong is 2, 3, 3, 3, 3. Now, if we want to make words, just make 3-letter words, and that is kind of uninteresting because I said before, in the dictionary, there's only, that many 3-letter words. It's probably less than 1,000. So when you have such a limited words, you make mahjong, it's not that interesting. And particularly for people with good vocabulary, 3-letter words, it's just not challenging enough. That's why in the Scramble Mahjong, this winning pattern, let's say the 14-card winning pattern, is the following rule. You must have a pair, which is a 2-letter word. Then you can have 3, 3, 3, 3, 3 if you insist. You can have 3, 4, 5. You can have 6 and 6, because 6 and 6 is 12, plus a 2 is 14. And you can have 5 and 8, okay? And you can, make a, 4 and 8, that's 12. And you can do 3 and 9, okay? So a pair, which is 2, a 3-letter word, and 9-letter word. Now you can see the English words coming in, and the scoring comes in and interesting. Obviously, it's harder to make a 9-letter word compared to make 3-letter word, 4-letter word, or 5-letter word, okay? Again, the scoring probably can be written as a book, okay? We're not gonna go into that in depth. It's sufficient to say if you make 3, 4, 5 combination, and that's the most, sort of common and easy one to make. Why? Because there are lots of 4-letter word, lots of 5-letter word, okay, and 3-letter, and that combination you can make fairly quickly and easily, okay. In fact, if it's probably easier than making 4 3-letter word. Why? Because 3-letter words are limited. It's only 900 some words, and it's fairly easy to exhaust, okay. So that probability calculation, again, perhaps could be some mathematics student as a thesis work and try to work that out. And what is the highest, winning hand? Obviously, if you can make a 2 and 12, 12-letter word, and that's probably is pretty, difficult and highest winning hand. Okay, so that's a 14-card Scramble Mahjong. Now we have 13. Now you got this dealt in your hand, and you now need to figure out what's your strategy in order to win. Let's say in this introductory game, people say you can win by any pattern. That is 3, 4, 5, or 4, 8, or 3, 9, or 2, 10. Whatever way you made, it's acceptable, as long as you have a pair, which is a 2-letter word, and another combination. Okay, if that's made into a rule, then it's easy. Now I can easily make it, as long as I make 3 words with a pair and anticipating draw another one to make it into 14, I will declare a winning pattern. So in this case, I first have to see what is a 2-letter word that I could make, okay? And usually you have to have a vowel. Now, AS is a 2-letter word, okay? That certainly can be. All right, AN is a 2-letter word. You have 2N here, and that can be, okay? So NU is 2-letter word. So there are many combinations. So besides 2-letter word in your head, you sort of keep in your mind, and now you try to make other words. And if you can make longer words, you take care of a longer word, and what's left is a lot easier to make another word. So let's see, what do we have? There's a while, which is very, very good, okay? Let's see. This is K is a little bit trickier sometimes. For example, you have 2S. Let's say you have 2N. We do sunk. That's a word. All right. Now let's see what else SLY is a word, and if you have this is what H. Let's say, now, this is why I was explaining why a 3, 4, 5 combination is fairly easy. Even in the first dealt, without changing cards, you're already pretty much ready. Why? Here, if I say this is either A or I, Harry suddenly is a word, 5-letter word. I have a sunk, it's 4-letter word. Sly is 3-letter word. And is the mahjong pair. So with this hand dealt to me, boy, all I need is to have either A or I can declare winning. All right? Now, drawing cards, just like the Mahjong, after you determine who starts, okay, you start drawing the cards. And the way to draw in the cards, let me start illustrating. Let's say I start, okay? I would draw a card. And if I did this, I draw this card, happen to be I use the while as A, Harry, then I just simply declare winning. All right? Now, these other people didn't even have a chance to draw a card. Obviously, they lost at the first hand. This is ultra lucky. I mean, you saw me shuffle and so on, and it happened to be, and I'm lucky today. First draw, I win. All right? Now I have this. Now, the question now is how do you count the points and how do you score? Without going to the other complicated probability, which really is best way to do is to give you bonus when you have longer words. For example, you can make a simple rule. Say, 7-letter word gives you 10 points bonus. 8-letter word, 20 points. 9-letter word, 30 points. 10-letter word, okay, 40 points. 11-letter word, 50 points, all right? And 12-letter word, 60 points as bonus. That makes simple life, okay? Now, in this case, then, anything 6, 5, 4, 3 has no bonus based on the points you have. So in this case, let's see how we score. AN is a pair of Mahjong which is only 2 points. That's 2. 3-letter word here, SLY is 2, 3, 6. That's 11 points. 2 plus 11 is 13. Okay? Sunk. Now, SUNK is 9, 1 is 10, 4, 2 is 16. Plus this bonus 3L times this 6, okay, is 22. This is 22, okay? And we had 13 before. 22 plus 13, 35. So far I have 35 points, okay? Now, Harry, okay? 2, 0, this is 1, this is 2. So 4, 6 plus 6, 12. This is 12 points, and bonus, okay, this is one word, okay, 12 with another 12 is 24. And this is 2 left. 2 left is 0. That's wasted. That is no bonus. So it's 24. We had 35 plus 24, okay? 35, 24 is 59. So we have 59 points. Now, when I declare this, okay, these two guys didn't have a chance because I draw and win, all right? Now, let me put this aside and just take a look of their hand, all right, and see whether, you know, they had a chance. Let me see this guy's hand, right? H, Y. Let me do it this way to save some space. Okay, all right, 2, 3, okay, O, I, U, E, 7, A, G, okay? Now, notice these letters vertically. Actually, you're supposed to be able to do this in your hand by looking at this way without looking the entire card. It's just like poker card you would do. You don't need the rest of it. You just need this, the top letters, so to speak, right? H2, da, da, da. So when you hold a hand, you can look at that way, say, here, you can do A, N, and sunk, S-U-N-K, okay? And you can organize in the way as in your hand. A-N, sunk, S-L-Y, sly, and as Harry, H-A-R-R-Y, okay? You organize this way. So it's fairly reasonable to hold 13 cards in your hand and shuffle or you know, arrange them to make the winning pattern, right? Now, in order to illustrate, we'll do this on the table. Now, this fellow had this 17 cards, again, also has a wild card here. Now, can he make, okay, First of all, look at it, two-letter word. There's many of S-O, O-H, all right, A-S, okay? So there's many of them. G-O, go, all right? So H-I, high. So there's no problem